Imagine a serial killer who is perfect. A killer who leaves no footprints, no fingerprints, and is never seen by a witness. A killer who can commit a brutal murder in southern Germany on Monday, break into a school in Austria on Tuesday, and negotiate a heroin deal in France on Wednesday. For 16 years, German police hunted this woman. They called her the Phantom of Heilbronn. The press called her the woman without a face. Her DNA was found at 40 different crime scenes. She killed pensioners. She killed a police officer. She broke into garden sheds to eat cookies. She was a super predator who seemed to have no motive, no pattern, and no face. The German government spent millions of euros hunting her. They offered a record-breaking 300,000 euro reward for her capture. But the reason they couldn't catch her wasn't because she was a criminal mastermind. It was because of a single catastrophic mistake that would humiliate the entire world of forensic science. This is the story of how the police spent 2 decades chasing a ghost while the real killers watched from the shadows. Welcome back to my channel. Usually when we talk about DNA, we talk about it as the gold standard, the irrefutable proof that puts criminals behind bars. But in today's case, we're looking at what happens when that science leads investigators down a 16-year rabbit hole. This is the case of the Phantom of Heilbronn, a mystery that started with a cotton swab and ended with one of the biggest apologies in law enforcement history. Let's get into it. The story officially starts, or so the police thought, in May of 1993, in the quiet German town of Idar Oberstein. A 62-year-old woman named Lieselotte Schlenger is found strangled to death in her own home. It's a brutal personal killing. She was strangled with a wire from a flower bouquet. The police sweep the scene. There are no witnesses, but on a teacup near the body, they find a perfect DNA sample. It belongs to an unknown female. The DNA is logged. The case goes cold. 8 years pass. It's now 2001. In the city of Freiburg, a 61-year-old antique dealer named Joseph Walzenbach is found murdered, strangled, again, this time with a belt. The police run the DNA found on a kitchen drawer at the scene. It's a match. The same woman who killed the pensioner in 1993 has just killed again, hundreds of miles away. Police now believe they are hunting a female serial killer who targets the elderly. They are looking for a psychopath. But then the profile starts to She's linked to a toy pistol used in a robbery in France, then a burglary at an optometrist's store in Austria, then a stone used to smash a window at a car dealership. By 2007, the police are baffled. The Phantom has no M.O., modus operandi. Sometimes she kills, sometimes she steals cars, sometimes she just breaks in to sleep. Witnesses are even more confusing. In one robbery, witnesses swear they saw a man. In another, they saw a group of men. But the forensics don't lie. The DNA is always her. The police assume she is a master of disguise, or maybe a trans woman, or perhaps the leader of a nomadic criminal gang who handles all the objects. They are confused, but they aren't panicked. Not yet. Everything changes on April 25th, 2007. In the city of Heilbronn, 22-year-old police officer Michèle Kiesewetter is on her lunch break. She is sitting in her patrol car with her partner, eating lunch in a parking lot. Two people approach the car from behind. Without warning, they open fire. Michèle is shot in the head and dies instantly. Her partner is shot in the head and falls into a coma, but miraculously survives. The attackers steal their service pistols and vanish. It is a brazen execution of a police officer in broad daylight. The entire German police force mobilizes. They scour the back seat of the patrol car, and there it is, the DNA of the unknown female. Now, the Phantom isn't just a thief. She is a cop killer. The case becomes Soko Parkplatz. They dedicate 16,000 hours of overtime. They collect DNA samples from 3,000 women who fit the rough profile. They spend an estimated 14 million euros on the manhunt. They are looking for a monster, and they are finding her traces everywhere, but never her. The crack in the case comes in 2009, and it comes from France. Police are trying to identify a burned corpse found in a forest. It is a man, likely an asylum seeker who had gone missing. They take a DNA sample from the body to confirm his identity. When the lab results come back, the investigators stare at the paper in disbelief. The DNA on the male corpse is the Phantom. This is impossible. The corpse is male, the Phantom is female, and the corpse has been there for a long time. There is no way this female serial killer touched this random body deep inside the tissue sample. The investigators stop looking at the suspects. They start looking at their own tools. swabs. These swabs were certified as sterile. In the medical world, sterile means free of bacteria and germs. It does not mean free of DNA. The Phantom of Heilbronn, the woman who had terrorized Europe for 16 years, was a factory worker, an elderly Polish woman who worked on the packaging line. She wasn't wearing gloves because she didn't have to. Every time she touched a swab to package it, she left microscopic skin cells on the cotton. When the police used these swabs to collect evidence, they weren't picking up the killer's DNA. They were depositing the factory worker's DNA onto the crime scene. Lieselotte Schlenger's teacup, contaminated by the swab. The toy pistol, contaminated by the swab. Officer Michèle Kiesewetter's patrol car. The killer wasn't the woman. The killer hadn't left DNA at all. The police put the DNA there themselves when they tested the seat. In March 2009, the case was closed. The Phantom never existed. You might laugh at the incompetence. It sounds like a comedy. But the ending of this story is not funny. It is a tragedy. Because while the German police were spending millions chasing a ghost in a factory, real killers were walking free. Remember Officer Michèle Kiesewetter, the police officer executed in her car. She wasn't killed by a phantom. She was killed by the NSU, National Socialist Underground, a neo-Nazi terrorist cell consisting of Uwe Mundlos, Uwe Bonart, and Peter Schepper. For years, this terror cell murdered immigrants and police officers across Germany. And for 2 vital years, the police ignored the neo-Nazi links because they were too busy chasing the Phantom's DNA. The Phantom of Heilbronn is a lesson in the danger of blind faith in forensics. Science doesn't lie, but the people handling the science do make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes let the real monsters get away with murder. In the end, the DNA was traced back to a factory worker who had never committed a crime in her life. But while the story of the Phantom is almost funny in its absurdity, the reality is darker. For 16 years, police were chasing a ghost. That means for 16 years, the real killers, the people actually responsible for the murder of that police officer and the brutal killings of those pensioners, were operating in the shadows, ignored by detectives who were too focused on a woman who didn't exist. Thanks for watching. If you want to hear more cases where the system failed, make sure you're subscribed. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.